So, hello everyone. So this is the 15th event on the DevOps Lisbon Meetup. We want to thank Pixel for hosting us, and they have a quick message to all of you. So, Carlos.
Hi. I don't know how many of you know what Pixel's camp is. I think that's the guy. And who doesn't know who Pixel's camp is? What Pixel's camp is? So, Pixel's camp. It's what's written in the wall. Pixel's camp is an event that Pixel and other companies organize every year. It used to have a different name in a past life. If some of you know what South Code Beats used to be, Pixel's camp is its natural era, so it's the biggest technological event in Portugal. We have over 1,000 seats for participants. It will happen in the last 3 days of September in Pavilhão Carlos Lopes, which is the yellow building in Parque Marcelo. It has a 48-hour hackathon, lots of talks, a lot of things happening during the event, and we are in the middle of a call for talks, so if any of you wishes to speak there, you can propose a talk on any subject that's vaguely related to technology. So, I guess that's about it. If you want to participate, just apply. We are starting to review applications right now. The website is pixels.camp, and that's it. Okay.
Thank you very much. As always, we want to thank our sponsors, Design, Display, OutSystems, and CloudFoundry. And as you probably are aware of, our both sponsors have the right to do a 2-minute speech in our meetups, and this time OutSystems wants to use that pitch.
So, hello, my name is João. I'm the head of project quality and delivery at OutSystems. So I'm not sure how many of you know our product, but we have a product that helps enterprises build software really quickly. So if you are interested in building a mobile app or a web app, you can do it now in days instead of months as people usually do. So I'm being the head of product quality and delivery, and my group is responsible for the quality of the product. So we have this impossible mission of delivering software with high quality and also really fast to please our customers. And so in the last couple of years, we've been adopting practices, industry practices proven to do exactly that. So we've been going more and more agile. We've been applying DevOps practices for our engineering. We've been doing a long road towards continuous delivery. So we started with continuous integration, and today we are almost getting some of the pieces of our product to deliver as quickly as we need them to. And so we keep investing in these areas. We hire top engineers. We deliver this product worldwide to customers around the globe. And we have both on-premises as well as a cloud version of the product. And the product is quite complex, so the engineering we put into this is quite a huge investment. And so we are always looking for talented people that are interested in this space of building software, high quality software, and delivering it really fast. I would say we have one of In Portugal, we have one of the largest product groups. We are over 120 engineers working on a single product. And so you'd be welcome to join us if you like to work in this space. So I'll leave my contacts there at the bottom in case you want to reach out to us. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, João. And this time we have one talk and one open space. This talk will be done by João Pinto. And I think it's a really great talk. And let's see if we can fit all the content into 30 minutes, but I'm really excited about this one. Afterwards, we'll do an open space, as we've done sometimes in the past, and it usually works really great, so we've decided to do it more often. For those of you who've never heard about the concept, well, there's first the opening circle, which is more or less what we are doing right now. I'll go and describe the principles and the law. Then we'll have several parallel discussions. And then in the end, we will discuss what we've learned during those discussions. So, the principles basically state that everything that can happen will be the best that could happen with the people that are in this room, and with the knowledge and the interest and the excitement they have about sharing knowledge. And then the law of 2 feet, basically don't stop and don't go to a discussion and then keep there, don't keep there if you don't think it's interesting, just move along. So the process will be after the talk, we'll have some post-its, and if you have anything you want to discuss, not necessarily related to the cloud or to CloudFoundry, everything you want to discuss in the DevOps topic, it's a good topic. And I'm sure that if you've been here, you want to learn something or you want to share something with others. So I'm pretty sure that each and every one of you have a topic that you'd like to discuss. So you'll have that opportunity. You think on the topic, and then you just write on the post-its, and then come forward and present it so that the others can learn and decide if they want to discuss that topic or not. Then we'll define some spaces where people will gather to discuss each topic, and then it just starts. And during, I'd say, 15-20 minutes, you can go to one topic and discuss and just listen if you want. If you don't want to talk, no problem. And if there's nothing that you find interesting in that topic, you can just move to another one. Okay, and that's perfectly okay, and that's perfectly expected. Okay, in the end, the persons who ask to do a topic, they should come here and just share what they've learned. And in the end, maybe we'll have some quick dinner afterwards. Anyone interested, so that you know if we can do that or not? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe
I'm not going to eat, but I just can stay and drink.
Okay. Okay. And well, without further ado, João, let's go. And obviously, 2 things that are missing. We'll do a book raffle. Okay, it's over there, it's small. It's not that book, it's another one. We'll do a book raffle in the end, and we'll have, obviously, as always, some beers and some snacks. Okay? And now, João, please. Okay. Sorry.
Okay, my name is João Pinto. I'm an open source enthusiast and I'm an IT specialist working for IBM. I don't work on this field, I don't work on cloud, I work on traditional IT as a Linux system administrator, so this presentation is based on a personal research. The things that I'm going to say here are my opinion and may not be of IBM, okay? Now, to start talking about clouds, there are different types of clouds. I'm not going into that detail. You have platform as a service, you have infrastructure as a service, you have service as a service. This topic is about platform as a service, and that's what I'm going to cover next. First, it's important to understand the history and the big players in platform as a service. It started with most for internet providers. The first one of the first ones was Heroku in 2007, then Google the Engine, more recently Red Hat, AWS, Elastic Beanstalk, Microsoft Azure, and more likely IBM. There are other players which are missing here. This is not to be an historical account. These are the ones that I think have been at a major role as a platform, as a service. Some of them provide both on-premise and both public services. Okay. This presentation is about CloudFoundry. CloudFoundry is an open source multi-cloud application platform as a service. It's managed by a non-profit foundation, and these are the core sponsors, because it's important to understand, especially when we choose an open source product, it's important to understand who is behind the product and to be confident about the development of the product. Okay. The big question is, I started with all those providers that you know that, okay, you can now go to the internet and choose one of those providers between many others. So why would we want to build our own platform? There are some cases. It's not like CloudFoundry will fix your problems, all your problems, and it will not be the best solution for everything. But for situations where you want to have ownership of the platform, or to control, even if you don't have ownership and you decide, okay, I'm going to use infrastructure from IBM, from Microsoft, from whatever, we still have better control if we use our own platform, using those resources, just their computing resources. When we want multi-vendor, multi-cloud infrastructure, because CloudFoundry can be deployed on any kind of on any of these providers, so you can use CloudFoundry on your own on-premise infrastructure, or you can deploy it on one of the internet providers. The other aspect that may need this kind of platform is when you have a very complex architecture, because these services, as they are provided on the internet, sometimes they don't have the flexibility that you need for certain solutions, where you need different network segments. Well, there may be special architectural requirements for which you need your own platform. What means CloudFoundry for business owners? It provides organizational resource control. It means there is resources are managed on an organizational basis. It's not like you are not managing resources on a per system basis. You assign this amount of RAM and this amount of storage for an organization, and it's their responsibility to use that space. So it's a more organization-oriented resources assignment instead of the usual systems managing resources. It also provides faster time to market, because one thing that I'm going to show in the demo is that with CloudFoundry you have instant application releases. So of course the development is not instant, it depends on the development time, but once the development is done, publishing an application on CloudFoundry is instant. Okay, so this is more for the developers. What do developers can get from CloudFoundry? These are the standard development frameworks that are supported by CloudFoundry. You have Java, Golang, .NET Core, Node.js, PHP, Ruby, and Python. There are support for other languages, but for that you need to create your own build packs. Those are not provided as part of the framework. These are the ones where you get the update directly from the CloudFoundry Foundation. So you have the programming language. There are integrations with certain desktop development environments, like Eclipse, for example. There are certain plugins for integration with CloudFoundry. And the most important aspect that I mentioned is the Agile deployment. Once you have your application set up, developed, the only thing that you need to do is use the client which is CloudFoundry. You just run CF push, and the DNS will be set up for you, the load balancing will be set up for you. All those features are integrated into CloudFoundry. You don't need to ask anything to your infrastructure team. It's just the developers or lead managers or whoever you decide to have this privilege will be able to deploy the application instantaneously. That's one of the fundamental features of CloudFoundry. What does it mean for operations? Okay, because the first thing that people which is responsible for building and maintaining will ask, okay, now we'll need to build a new platform. Yes, but CloudFoundry is built using an open source tool which is called BOSH, which for those which know HashiCorp tools, it's comparable to Terraform from HashiCorp. It's a tool where you define your environment. You say, I want these networks, I want this software, and I want these jobs. And BOSH will manage the infrastructure, will build the infrastructure for you. Okay? It's similar to HashiCorp Terraform, which is newer. BOSH has been developed for the longer time. It provides elastic capacity. Okay, if you have a need for more demand in your business, okay, now I need more servers. You just go there and let's say this application instead of having 2 instances need 10 instances. So you just go there and you scale automatically the application. You don't need to be deploying new servers, as long as you have resource tools for that, of course. You get security and stability updates from CloudFoundry. If you need to upgrade your Java, your Python, all those things which are core to the language and to the operating system, they get from the CloudFoundry Foundation. You don't need to be cherry picking your updates for the infrastructure deployments. Okay, now I'm going through the technical capabilities of CloudFoundry. The BOSH utility that I mentioned is able to deploy your infrastructure to any of these cloud providers. There is one component which is called Cloud Provider Interface. There is a CPI for VirtualBox, OpenStack, VMware, Azure, Google, AWS. IBM on this case is software for deploying. You can just, when you deploy your infrastructure, you can target for any of these without any change. Just you need to change the credentials and some aspects which may be different, but the overall configuration, it's the same and it's the same product, and that's what you use to deploy a CloudFoundry deployment. You can also use BOSH to deploy your own environments. Okay, you can say, oh, I want BOSH to install MySQL server or Apache. You can use BOSH as a generic deployment tool. Okay. The other thing that you get now is specific to CloudFoundry, a TP container lifecycle. All your application instances on CloudFoundry run on a container. It's the same technology that powers Docker. The runtime is the same. It's just the interface is different. You are not manually controlling containers. You just create the application, you deploy, CloudFoundry does the container management for you. But every instance runs on a container on CloudFoundry. It provides DNS integration, like you push a new application, you give a name to the application. It will just get the application name automatically set up. You don't need to ask or get, oh, please configure this new host name that we are going to create. No, it's automatically managed by CloudFoundry. It provides load balancing. Okay, you now are just running with one instance, and you will then increase, okay, now I want 10 instances. All the requests are going through a router, they call a router, which actually is a software load balancer, and it will automatically choose all available application instances, so it provides load balancing. It provides logging and metrics, and this is also important for operations, because most of the time, especially when you have many instances for one application, it's very hard to find logs, to check the logs for every instance, and to find the metrics to identify where the problem is happening. CloudFoundry provides logging aggregation, so you can just run a command and see all the logs for that application on every instance, and it provides metrics. That's all built in the platform. You don't need additional products, you don't need additional things to get these additions. Now I'm going to talk about BOSH, because like I said, it's the core tool for deploying the infrastructure. It's an open source tool. It's a sub-project of the CloudFoundry, but like I said, you can use it generically. Okay. This is the BOSH architecture. You have the BOSH client, and then well, first thing you deploy a Bosch, you do a Bosch installation. Bosch itself will be installed as a virtual appliance. It will have a director, which is what controls all the operation from Bosch. It has health monitor. The health monitor will check for the VM. If the VM is working properly. If not, it will restart the VM. Bosch does that all for you. It does automatically health checking. Well, you have the messaging component, which is to interact with other solution components. You have the registry, which keeps information about the different VMs. Blob stories to keep the binaries, like the operating system, the deployments, the application, and the stuff. And there is a PostgreSQL which is powering also the CloudFoundry. Those are the deployments. Those are your environments, which are managed by a director. Okay? The director can be run on any virtual provider. I'm going to do a demo where this is always running on the same system, which is a VirtualBox virtual machine. I will be running that director and the CloudFoundry on the same virtual machine. But of course, this is not recommended for production or production. You are expected to have these with specific VMs, and what I'm going to do here is not recommended for, not even for the walking, this is just for them, okay? What constitutes a Bosch deployment? It's a definition of networks, I mean virtual networks that will be built on the virtual environment, the resource pools, the disk pools. Some of these aspects may differ a bit between providers. For example, you have on VMware, you have clusters. On Amazon, you have availability zones. There might be slight differences between providers, but the core are these components. So the infrastructure part at the top and the software versus services part in the bottom, which is you have stem cells. Stem cells are nothing more than a template of an operating system. A template that was built for a particular hypervisor. It has the Bosch agent, because after being bootstrapped, it needs to get all the releases, all the software from Bosch. Releases are packages of software. It's software and its configuration, like MySQL, etc. Jobs are the long-running services. Is what actually runs on Bosch. Jobs can be a MySQL database, can be an Apache, can be any long-running process. Jobs have properties, they consume other jobs and they provide other jobs. For example, a database provides a database, a DB, let's call it analyze. You may have an application job that will depend on a database for that. Properties are all different jobs to exchange. For example, data source connection streams. You don't need to hardcode on them. You can say, my application job will depend on the connection stream for the other job. That's everything can be defined on your deployment. Okay, Bosch is done. Once you have that all set up, you put that on a single file and you just run deploy this. You need to provide your deployment credentials, like your vCenter admin or your AWS admin, whatever. You just click enter and it will deploy whatever is defined on your Bosch deployment. This is the CloudFoundry architecture. Okay. You have the router, which basically it's a proxy. It routes all your requests, both management and application requests, to all running instances. So it's your entry point into the platform. You have the authentication server because on CloudFoundry you have users which are bound to organizations and to spaces, and those users have roles. This authentication can be integrated with your LDAP. For example, on IBM we have it integrated with our own users. So it can be integrated with enterprise Active Directories. Database storage and execution is the layer which is responsible for actually running your application. It's the cloud application that will be deploying the CloudFoundry. It has a blob store for storing the deployment of your application, and then the Guardian is a container executor. It basically will run your applications on containers on your CloudFoundry itself. You have service brokers, which is a nice thing about CloudFoundry that you do not find on some other platforms, which is infrastructure services are actually defined as service. For example, a database. A database is a service. object storage. An object storage is selected to the application as a service. There are certain abilities on our service. For example, you can select, I want my application to be bound to a database. So you can have infrastructure services that can be bound or can be available for applications. So that's one of the great features of CloudFoundry. It's the ability to have generic services that you can bind to your applications. Then we have messaging, which is very internal. It's the way it communicates about what is running. Also is for service discovery, and it's all about internal messaging. You don't need to know all this to run an application, okay? This is the infrastructure and architecture part of CloudFoundry. And then we have message collector and application logs collector, which does all on the consolidation. And well, you can check more about it about CloudFoundry.org, about Bosch on Bosch.io. These are the main references. And now I'm going for the demo. Okay. Which is a live demo, which means I hope it will run well, but you know. Just to show you, I'm running VirtualBox with a single VM, and the SC is for stem cell. It's a stem cell for my VirtualBox. Like I've shown, we need a stem cell, which is the template. Every time that a new image needs to be created, Bosch will be using this stem cell, which is Ubuntu based on this case. But we don't need to interact with it. Once your deployment is set up, you don't need to interact never with the hypervisor directly. You have the Bosch client, for example, I'm going to list my Bosch VMs. Okay, this is my CloudFoundry deployment. It's running 16 VMs. You will ask, okay, you have one VM. Okay, on this case, because I'm running a Bosch White, which is for them to propose it, these VMs are running as containers on my VirtualBox. So it's actually one VirtualBox with 16 containers. Again, this is not expected for production configuration, okay? These are all the components that match the architecture that I've defined. It's IPI, Bob Store, Cloud Controller Bridge, Diego is the code name for the latest CloudFoundry version, and these are all VMs that are required for the CF deployment. I can show you the releases that are required for CloudFoundry. Okay, we have build packs. Build packs are used to run applications, are the application layer. That's why you have a build pack for Java, a build pack for PHP, and a build pack for Python. And then you add the releases which is related to the software that runs on CloudFoundry. For example, UAA, it's user authentication and authorization, is the authentication component of CloudFoundry. So this is the CloudFoundry infrastructure. Now I'm going to deploy an application into CloudFoundry, which is what really CloudFoundry is for. I have a sample application. Which is Python, because I'm a Python developer. I'm not a Java developer. No, really. So this is a regular Python application. You can run any of the Python frameworks like Django, whatever you use for development. In my case, I use my own specific development framework, which uses some of the standard libraries. The only thing, if you already are using one of these frameworks like Node.js or Django, Python, and Java, there are specific frameworks of Java because Java is a very wild world, okay? You cannot just migrate every Java application to CloudFoundry like that, but it depends on the libraries, it depends on the framework that you are using. But for these like Node.js and Python and Ruby and those kind of applications, usually you can use the application as it is. You just need to create an application manifest that gives the certain properties that are used for deployment. I'm going to show the manifest for this application. Okay, the name is DevOps LX. it will use 128 megabytes of memory. Use no, it means it will have a quota. The container will be created with this memory. And it will have a disk quota of 566 megabytes. First I'm going to run the application locally, like I'm in a development environment, to run the, on this case, to run the application. Okay, it's just a Python web server running a web application, okay, that I'm going to use for the demo. Okay, it's basically a potential site for this group, okay? It's a bootstrap-based application. It's just a web application. In this case, it's running locally. CloudFoundry is not involved. I'm on my development workstation running the application. Now I'm going to deploy it to my local CloudFoundry install. I'm going to show you what you need to learn into CloudFoundry. Basically, you need to provide a password. A usual developer will not be using the admin password, but since I'm CloudFoundry admin on my local instance, I'm using admin. That would not be the case for a developer. So I'm logging into an endpoint. Just to make sure this is a local endpoint despite the name. I'm going to show you despite the name, this is a real local endpoint. If you look at the VMs, the IP that was there is our router IP. Okay? Just to be sure, I'm not using internet resources. I'm going to through my virtual box. And now I'm just going to deploy the application. This will take some time, because at this stage you'll do what they call the staging phase, which means it will identify the application framework. Depending on the application, it will get libraries, it will compile the assets. That's highly dependent on the type of application. For example, for a Python application, it will install Python, it will check the requirements.txt, which is a file which describes the application library requirements. For other type of frameworks like Java, it might need to compile certain assets. So this is the building phase. Yes, the application. Don't forget that I'm running VirtualBox with containers inside and with some other things inside. Let me close some of the. Let me free some resources in my machine. Sorry, I didn't run the command. I've shown the script, but I didn't run the command. Okay, because I'm administrator, I have two organizations, DevOps Lisbon and System. I've created the DevOps Lisbon. Okay, now I'm pointing to the local endpoint. Now I'm going to push. I was trying to push the internet and there is something blocking me to the push. Okay, now it's really good. Okay, I was not targeting I was targeting other CloudFoundry instances. Installing Python.
Do you know how to open standard?
Now the requirements, like I mentioned, every Python application has a requirement which states the dependencies. In this case, it is getting a dependency from GitHub. This only happens on the first build, because after staging, it creates a file which is called a droplet, and that droplet is always used to create new instances. So when you increase the application instance, for example, it will not go through this process. This process is to ensure that the application is built. Like in this case, the droplet was created, and every time now that you need to start application or to increase the instances, it will just use the droplet that was created. So this is actually a build time, and that's why it takes a bit more. Okay, my application was deployed, and it's now running on my platform instance. You can see health is important because you can configure your health check. You can configure specific endpoints for health, but you have a running instance on this URL, which is a local URL, and it's using 10 megas of the system. Now I'm going to run the show you the application. It will not be visually different, but now it's running on CloudFoundry. Okay? It's the same, but now it's not running on a local machine, and it's running on my CloudFoundry. Now I'm going to deploy it to the internet. Okay? And on this case, I'm going to use IBM Bluemix. I'm going to deploy the same, because the IBM Bluemix uses CloudFoundry. There are other CloudFoundry providers. IBM is one of them. This means you can use your own CloudFoundry, or you can use an external CloudFoundry provider. I'm going to deploy the same application, but I'm not sure it's working because I want to say. Now I'm going to log into IBM Bluemix CloudFoundry. The only thing that changes is the endpoint, okay? The rest is the same. I just do a CF push start to this different endpoint, which is a different CloudFoundry instance. Okay? On this case, I have an organization which also DevOps and Space Dev. And now I'm going to push and hope it works better than the last time.
You have to pay Bluemix for this?
Yes, I'm using a trial. Okay, Bluemix is an IBM service. I'm using a trial account, which is 30 days. So yes, if you decide to use it later, you have to pay. Well, it's an IBM provided service. You get, for example, I input into the services. You get a lot of IBM specific services like IBM Watson, which is learning artificial intelligence. Depending on your provider, the services change because services are not standard. For example, there are a lot of open source services like MySQL services and Postgres, but the other services which are very provider specific are only available for that specific. On my case, I'm not using any services. I'm not using databases. This is just a static site. If I were using a service, then it might I might not be able to depend on every CloudFoundry instance because services are configurable. You can add your tailored CloudFoundry. Now it's doing the same install but on IBM CloudFoundry, which is Bluemix. Again, this is a trial account. Okay, you may have different performance with a paid account. I don't know about that. I'm not a vendor. This is just to show how easy to deploy an application into the real web. Again, staging, creating the container, and starting. Okay, if someone has a model and wants to check, it can check this URL. I can do the check for you, but if someone wants to try on a model for an alternative, this will be available. Again, it's the same site. But now if you go to your mobile phone or to your laptop or something or your own device, you can check it's real in the internet. Just to finish, because I know we are in time. I'm just going to show you one of the plugins of CloudFoundry that you can check. For example, the usage, how many requests, the time. I think that's important for operations. Use the CloudFoundry top. It will show you the usage of for every container, the request. There are several CloudFoundry plugins, so you do have plugins which always use those metrics and those plugins. Okay. We could have here several applications. This is just one, but I could deploy many applications. And I just have one instance, and I can see the user resources for this particular instance. I don't have any requests, but of course no one is visiting the site. But when you directly do some requests, you see the response time was 27 miles. do a second, milliseconds, and there is people trying, because I see requests, there is someone, okay, you are trying, okay. I could have much more instances here, but just one instance, it's enough. The trial is limited on the number of instances per on a paid account, you could increase. You see here the IP of the specific instance where this container is running. We could log in into there. We can check the logs. Logs. For the application. And meanwhile, I'm just going to show, well, you don't get the web interface. It's important to understand. CloudFoundry is just infrastructure. You don't get the web interface that you get from a provider like IBM or from other CloudFoundry. Or you create your own interface for your enterprise. So, like I said, CloudFoundry, I'm just going to show you what you get, for example, from Linux, from other providers, you get other type of services. The logs are done. You can check the logs. You can see that I'm getting the logs. If someone does a request now, I think you'll get another log. There is an iPad doing the request. It's you again, okay? Just to show that you are seeing the logs that someone which is using the application. And just now, I'm just going to and this is really for the I'm going to log in into Linux, to the web interface. Actually, there is an open source web interface. It's very simple. There is a web interface which can be applied to CloudFoundry, but it's very simple. Okay. I have my organization, and I just want to show the services, which is somewhere here. Okay, it's getting into time, that's why. Okay, this is what I want to show. This is the kind of service that you can on the CloudFoundry deployment. This is the one for IBM, but you can use your own. So I'm not using this is what you can do with a full-blown CloudFoundry installation. You can have your applications, and you can have all these kind of services that you can bound to your applications. It's all. I don't know if someone has questions.
Awesome shit. Anyway, regarding services, I see a lot. I know that IBM bought Compose, which is an IIS for databases and whatnot. So I'm seeing there are a lot of database services that are already provisioned by a third party, right?
Yes.
Does that support any kind of provisioning of services in your own CloudFoundry application?
You can do that if you build your CloudFoundry. You know.
So it will provision a MySQL for you, for instance?
Yes, yes. You can provide your SQL service.
Okay.
Or you can also get this on premise, okay? You pay for that, and you can get all this. They're not be on the internet. You can get available links on a box, but you can build your own CloudFoundry with your local service. To be honest, like I said, I'm doing research on this. I don't know yet which of the services you have available as open source. To be honest, I don't know. I know that you have MySQL and there is a big list of services. But I don't know, I'm sure it will not have it. Also because some of the IBM services depend on IBM Internet Explorer tools. But you could also build these services for something that you have just on your company. Like if you have some business specific team, you could build a service on your company and make it available to your CloudFoundry on your company. So yeah, you could do that also.
Thank you.
Does CloudFoundry support auto scaling, or is it just load balancing based on how many containers you specify?
You mean automatic?
Spinning up more containers is
There are plugins to do that. I don't think it does by default. But because it has health monitoring, which provides events triggers, you can create a plugin that will react to for example, response time is decreasing and then you launch. It's not provided, but again, I don't know all the plugins. There are many plugins for managing for those kind of more tailored needs.
Are there fault tolerance possibilities offered by CloudFoundry?
Yeah, there are two levels. First, Bosch does one thing. For example, when you are updating CloudFoundry itself, when there is a new Java release and you need to edit one new Java release, Bosch has the concept of a canary. A canary is an instance that is used just for testing purposes. So when you release a new, in this case, a new CloudFoundry package, like for example, a new Python version, it will do first do a build, do a canary release, and only if that canary release works, it will roll out the deployment. Yes, and that's configurable. For example, you can configure how many canary releases you want to use before promoting the release. That's for the CloudFoundry foundation itself. For the other aspects, for the application itself, you have just the health. You can set up your health monitoring. You can say my application has the endpoint, and if this endpoint fails, you will restart your instance. It has that as something that you can add, and it will automatically restart your application instances. It does have that fault tolerance at both levels, CloudFoundry infrastructure and application infrastructure.
Sorry, what element of the whole infrastructure is responsible for doing that?
Well, for running the CloudFoundry components, it's Bosch. The Bosch is automatic, okay? It makes sure that your CloudFoundry cells are running. It doesn't look at the application. It doesn't know that there are applications running there. It just knows that it's a Diego cell.
Okay.
That's managed by Bosch.
Okay.
But it doesn't do the application anymore. The CloudFoundry components, which was the Bosch VM that I showed here. So Bosch checks the health of these VMs.
Okay.
Okay.
But for your applications, to keep your applications
to keep CloudFoundry running, just for that.
Okay.
This is not aware of applications.
Okay, but for the applications,
For the application, there is a Diego brain.
Okay.
That will check your cloud control bridge. I don't know the details, but you check one of these components. Okay, this application failed, and the Diego brain will tell, okay, start this application on a different cell.
So we can say that the Diego brain is the orchestrator of for the application.
Yes.
So
For the runtime, not for the deployment.
So like OpenShift uses Kubernetes in this case.
Yes. Because actually they call it Garden. Garden is a Golang implemented container manager. Okay? The brain acts over Garden. It says start this container or stop this container. It's like Kubernetes. Okay. You can actually run Docker images also with CloudFoundry. But that's not, as I call it, for me it's not a platform as a service. Okay? It's image as a service. You can use CloudFoundry to say, okay, now I want to run a Docker image. But that's not a CF push. On this case, you push an image. You can push an image. You can run a Docker image on CloudFoundry. Because again, the backend infrastructure is the same. And there is support for running Docker images. But again, it's not the cycle that I showed. It's different because you are deploying images and not applications like here.
Okay. One last question and then we'll go to the...
What is the main advantage of using this compared to Kubernetes and Docker?
This seems quite.
I'm not very familiar with, Docker. Docker, you are not managing applications, you are managing images, okay? This manages the images for you, that's a major difference. For development, maybe it's not that interesting. But for example, Docker will not go to the DNS and set up the domain for you. So this is as a broader view of our infrastructure, and it's application-centric. Docker, it's image-centric. In the end, this is running a container, okay? It's working as Docker, but while Docker is more command line oriented, this is application-centric. That's the main advantage. It's about how we were talking in this discussion, whether images is a good computer or no for software releases and for software. I personally prefer to have this layer where we have the release and the software and the components and the services versus the Docker approach, which remembers me of ghost-based iteration. Okay, I'm not very fan of bridge-based. I think it's great for development. I think it's not that great for release management, but that's a personal opinion. I know that this is a very debated subject, image versus application release. So for me, it's application release.
Okay, so we will thank
Okay.
And now we'll do the open space, and we have somewhere some post-its and some pens. And basically, if you have anything at all that you want to discuss or to hear about, just write it on the post-it, and after 2-3 minutes, enough time for you to think on what you want to talk about, and then we will ask you to come forward and explain what you want to talk about, so that others might join you. I don't know if has everyone thought about topic that you might want to talk about? Yes. If so, I will ask. So, Raspberry Pi, CloudFoundry, and Gosh. In one line, what you want to discuss?
I want to know if it's possible to use Raspberry Pi as a server, as a cloud provider, and to handle it through CloudFoundry and Gosh.
Okay. And impediments to continuous delivery with quality?
The idea is to discuss the major impediments that does not allow us today to achieve continuous delivery pipeline and with quality, because without quality that doesn't make sense.
Secrets management?
The basic story about how to manage passwords, tokens, security,
and container networking.
So I'm basically looking to get your feedback. If today, in the current situation, with the current tools that we have available, if you still have challenges with networking, how do you build the relationship between the networking / operations team and the developer teams, try to figure out what's going on out there. I'm happy to share my thoughts as well. I'm working lately on a project called Contiv from Cisco. It's an open source, completely open source project. It's being sponsored by Cisco. And it's one of the plugins, networking plugins for containers. So it's one topic that at this stage I would like more to get some feedback, understand how you guys are seeing this.
Okay. So there's one more. So let's come forward.
I haven't finished yet.
This one is about vendor lock-in data. So, how to avoid vendor lock-in, or is it a problem or not?
Honestly, I almost sometimes something that run in the Amazon system, the Amazon Web Services. But it was not my choice. But I realized at that time that the system was completely slave of the Amazon. They will never, that will be a tremendous work to change to any other system. So, although I'm not probably going to work more on that project, I'm just curious, what can we do first to be able to change something that is written for the Amazon to another vendor or another system that makes the same job. In my point of view, I was doing many other processes. Sure.
Chiado can explain more. Let's do maybe 2 groups here in this room and 3 groups outside. There's the income table, main table, and to the right. So, just pick whatever.
Multitask.
Raspberry Pi and CloudFoundry here. Let's do impediments to continuous delivery with quality here. And we'll put the other three outside. So remember, you're free to move around if you think you're not learning or you're not contributing. It's no shame to go to another group, it's fine. And in the end, we'll, in 20 minutes, so at 20:35, everyone gets back here and we'll share what we've learned.
Actually, they are raspberries based. There's some people that believe that server should change one based will have raspberry power inclusive. There's some people that believe that there will be a major change from Pinto perspective to ARM perspective. And I actually saw here on the mail company, they were using raspberry powers, formal raspberry. Well, not raspberry, very close to raspberry. So,
consegue-se acelerar o teu pipeline, mas claramente comprometendo a qualidade. E que é mais velho. Sim, tens basicamente e metes em produção sem ter a fiabilidade que deves ter no contexto de fiabilidade. Se calhar não pensar um bocadinho nos clientes automáticos. Porque em automáticos tu tens em automáticos é muito fácil desenvolver.
Here you need some kind of like for that there is no project is OpenStack allows you to build use the Raspberry as part of the cloud. You don't because you use OpenStack to build a Raspberry stack and then you can watch with OpenStack running on Raspberry.
Eu acho que isso deve ser feito eventualmente com um modo de exploração de experimentação. E não é, infelizmente, não é tipo problemas. Não são
because for example, I was using I could be writing that
mas se tu fizesse a decisão, tu assumir isso, se calhar depois podes aprender, depois acontecem problemas com o cliente, pelo menos tentar perceber quais são o tipo de critérios é que eu podia ter no pipeline, para isto não vai ser. Isso é diferente, tu simplesmente estás a pôr as coisas, fazer entregas e olha, aconteceu ter problemas, neste caso não tinha teste, no outro caso tinha teste, e é diferente, não estás sob controle.
Sim, eu acho que era interessante ter uma abordagem mais de experimentação com funcionalidades tipo feature counting e feature sorting, e tu, se calhar, tens essa base de, ok, eu não vou testar, ou vou testar só ali aquele bare minimum que eu sei que é aceitável, e depois tenho ali um conjunto limitado de utilizadores, e pronto, e aí eu acho que essa é uma grande vantagem. Se calhar é que é, na verdade, tu reduzes verdadeiramente
quando o que nós vemos hoje é que literalmente funcionam a acesso acelerado de textos. Portanto, aqueles clientes onde tens muitas equipas muito desenvolvidas, o IP aumenta a sua capacidade não está ao mesmo nível da tua capacidade de desenvolver. E se calhar com uma experimentação diferente e com este tipo de funcionalidades em que tu tens menos receio de colocar em produção, alivias o IP e não comprometes tanto a qualidade do IP. É um comprometer, se calhar, mais seletivo, mais controlado e eventualmente uma forma de resolver.
Compensar não conseguir fazer os testes automáticos, mas com live testing, com
acho que não nunca podes equilibrar muito, não é? Se tu estás a desenvolver muito, tens de testar muito e nunca podes estar atrás e construir dívida técnica porque nunca vais recuperar.
E desta forma, eu acho que a qualidade do trabalho também
as mitigações que nós fazemos dentro do Cloud Systems é, por exemplo, do output. Todos os desenvolvimentos passam por clientes internos. Portanto, as nossas aplicações, a nossa plataforma é validada por pessoas internas que estão a desenvolver por cima da plataforma. Portanto, usamos o nosso próprio produto para fazer desenvolvimento. E depois eles têm os três outros que estás a dizer, é tipo segmentar os teus clientes pelo risco que eles têm, porque nenhum dos teus clientes não são todos iguais. Tens clientes que têm perfis de risco e que querem estar no leading edge e querem validar, ter acesso às últimas features, mesmo que ainda estejam um pouco maduros, e tens clientes que são muito conservadores, a banca e o enterprise, não faz updates uma vez ao ano sequer. E ao segmentar isto, tem a capacidade de fazer
um banco que é early adopter.
Okay, this is our cloud.
Temos o feature toggle, não precisamos ter tantos testes, mas depois que o feature toggle está em produção, tu ligas aquilo, se aquilo não está bem testado, mesmo que seja com um cliente, pode ser depois.
Mas consegues segmentar, por exemplo, fazer a software, fazendo o valor para precisar.
Estão a ver isso como, ok, isto é uma alternativa de testes.
Because we started by is that created a different organization to just have the so we don't rely on VMware anymore. This is still stable. They are, as far as I thought, they are the more and this also provide a free instance just for people. You can get not all these environments, they provide full version that you can use for the box. It's not for life.
E não fazer uma ideia
O feature toggle quase precisas ter mais testes, ou quase se fizeres com este bem controlado, acaba por ser mais lento para o pipeline, podias estar a testar com o feature toggle on, com o feature toggle off, para ver que pode entrar em off e já sabendo que em on está a funcionar bem.
Isso tens vários features toggles para várias features, as combinações delas.
Tecnicamente não se fala, e aqui nós também não estamos a falar. Mas acho que é importantíssimo, aliás, acho que o processo foi uma das coisas que fez lá na internet se transformar assim tal, e que nós lá sofremos imenso com isso, que é as dependências que tens de todos os teus sistemas, porque mesmo quando tu cortas, nós estamos a trabalhar nisto lá, quando tu cortas as tuas dependências de outras equipas, tu podes cortar para tu poderes, se quiseres, empurrar as coisas para a produção, mas há muitas vezes em que tu não podes empurrar para a produção, mas não podes publicar aquilo. Porque o utilizador final precisa de uma coisa que toca neste sistema e naquele para poder funcionar. E tu até podes empurrar a exportação sem depender dos outros, mas para o utilizador final, quando tiver isto ligado, é que ele pode usar e dar aquilo que ele tem feito. E este é um problema muito duro de resolver, porque tu consegues até separar a entrega e o continuous delivery, mas a parte do ponto de vista técnico, mas depois do ponto de vista da feature, dares ao cliente e dizes, sei lá, o requisito legal está cumprido, ou essas coisas preciso ter esta porcaria toda. E por isso, se tu quiseres empurrar o continuous delivery, não só para uma coisa técnica, mas para realmente dar o valor, o cenário ao cliente, há um conjunto de coisas complicadas a resolver, que é esta parte, que se calhar são, estando uma vez a parte técnica resolvida, depois tens esta parte de coordenação das equipas, que é super duro. E nós, por exemplo, nós temos sobretudo Scrum, não é? E tens sprints que duram, equipas que fazem sprints de 4 semanas, tens sprints que fazem, equipas que fazem sprints de 2 semanas, tens processos montados em cima disto que tens de cumprir, no nosso caso, do ponto de vista legal e da auditoria, tens que os cumprir. Pode haver uns aqueles serviços, mas tens de cumprir e depois tu coordenares isto tudo e como é que tu agilizas o teu cycle time, efetivamente para o cliente ser o mais reduzido, é muito duro. É um dos problemas com que eu lido. Ainda não tens problemas técnicos resolvidos,
mas isso é sempre a dificuldade de construir a funcionalidade em interações mais pequenas e trazendo valor básico. Não esteja tudo já alguma coisa para fazer.
Mas como é que tu envolve isto? É complicado. Há outras tecnologias, mas em ASIS fica mais visível, que é a tal como começamos a ter muitas equipas, com 2 ou 3, mas está por ela, quando começas a ter muitas equipas e tens um componente base e tu empurras este componente base vai tudo atrás. E quando vai tudo atrás, é mesmo tudo atrás.
Mas isso promove brutalmente a reutilização.
Sim, quando promoves muito a reutilização,
isso consegues resolver tipicamente com o versionamento dos contratos. Se tu tiveres os contratos bem versionados e o cliente tiver que fazer um upgrade explícito para o contrato novo, consegues fazer evoluir os teus contratos sem perder
extraordinariamente difícil de pôr, pelo menos na minha prática. Versionar, só a questão do versionamento dos serviços gigante é uma discussão gigantesca.
Mas não devia ser
gigantesca. Não, a estratégia de versionamento, há milhões de estratégias de versionamento. Para chegar a um consenso.
Tu não precisas de versionar o serviço.
Pode ser uma instância do serviço que implementa 4 ou 5 versões.
E agora já não funcionava, porque já foi há uns meses, isso levantou também, nós esquecemos isso levantou questões, por exemplo, quando você de segurança e auditoria, eles não queriam isso funcionar, eu não consigo saber, ok, até tem contrato do ponto de vista técnico, está tudo bem, mas para saber o que é que está executado no momento ou não está, já não sei, já é difícil, e depois estás a mexer assim, nas ligas com os centros de operações, deployments e tal, e depois começas a puxar aquilo, e para saberes exatamente o que é que se passou, é duro. Por exemplo, os feature toggles, eu acho que é importantíssimo, apesar de isto nós fizemos, acho que é importantíssimo, já nos safou imensas vezes usar feature toggles, mas neste modelo que tu estás a dizer, em que nós conseguimos controlar um ponto do fluxo, quando estamos a espalhar pelo código, e essas coisas assim, nunca nos correu bem, obviamente, não é? Mas nunca nos correu bem. Agora, desta forma, correu, e depois temos que ser muito disciplinados na remoção depois dos toggles quando já não são necessários, e essa parte também é complicada, porque garantir que as pessoas dão atenção devida à remoção,
já não tem,
pronto, isso é duro de conseguir.
Mas que se fica claro que é difícil de remover, possivelmente não faz o arquivo.
Sim.
Sim, é verdade. Cada caso é um caso.
Agora, só para dizer também, para além da feature toggles, voltando mais aos pipelines, Não sei como é que são os vossos, mas se for um pipeline muito sequencial, sem alternativas, isso também é um anti-pattern, vá lá. Ou seja, um bom pipeline é curto e é... Se permite, ou seja, em vez de todas as operações passam por estas atividades todas, ou estes controles todos, não. Pipelines. Porque a questão é que a gente quer automatizar tudo e vai tudo automático e não me preocupo. Mas não, o pipeline serve para perceber, ok, isto é uma automação deste tipo, tenho que fazer testes de performance ou não. Mas se os teus testes de performance estão sempre lá, no caminho da produção, vais ter sempre que fazer, mas se calhar há muitas alterações que não faz sentido fazer. E tal como isso, para outros tipos de atividades. Por isso é que se tiveres um pipeline que é curto, ou seja, o caminho mínimo para a produção é curto. Que é tipicamente uma alteração em que só estás a mudar a cor da página ou seja o que for. Ok, não preciso fazer testes de performance, não preciso fazer testes de segurança, sei que essa alteração vai o mais rápido possível. Depois tens outros tipos de alterações, podes ter alguns mecanismos automatizados para ver, ok, alterei a interface, tenho que ir testar os contratos com os outros serviços, ou alterei a coisa de segurança, tenho que alguém fazer testes de segurança. Ter essa flexibilidade no pipeline. Muitas vezes vejo isso, é o pipeline, ok, é do princípio ao fim, e todas as alterações passam por aquele caminho. Mas há alterações que não precisam disso tudo e fica muito lento. E a outra coisa é os testes. Eu já falei com o Miguel também. Muita gente não faz, para mim devia haver o grooming dos testes. Ou seja, é só o grooming do backlog e o grooming dos testes. Não é o suficiente. Estás continuamente a acrescentar testes e ver a regressão dos testes todos. Tens de estar 10 anos atrás. Tens que tomar decisões. Sei que eu estou dizendo, se pode automatizar tudo. Tem que se tomar decisões. Ok, estes testes já não têm valor. Não encontramos um bug com estes testes nos últimos 5 anos. Só que isto está a trabalhar também. Algum mecanismo, não. De fazer um bocadinho de limpeza, porque senão. Microserviços, também depois depende de como é que tens organizado. Se tens bocados mais pequenos, é mais fácil fazer essa gestão dos testes. Tens mais complicação da orquestrar.
Será que vai ser isso, ferramentas um bocadinho melhores no nível de estatísticas de testes e alterações que vão ajudar não só das normas, mas também estatísticas de quanto o código de um teste altera. Se vês que não alterar muito jogo, se vês que já não está sequer no execution path ou assim, provavelmente assim já
tens a boa razão, mas isso é tens a boa razão, os trabalhos com estatisticamente estão-se a preparar para dizer antes que é este o teste, a ver quais são os testes para o meio vão falhar.
Mas quem?
Eles fizeram um último ataque, porque tem uma conferência espetacular.
Já não mais.
Em que.
Isto tentaram fazer.
Cancelaram.
Dizem que vão fazer, não sei o que, engenharia
o foco que vai deixar de ser testes vai ser produtividade. Sim, os conteúdos.
Mas a questão é essa, que eles analisam alterações de código, analisam dados estatísticos do sucesso a executar e estão a tentar estatisticamente, começou por causa dos flaky testes, mas depois querem não ter que correr os testes todos e têm dados estatísticos já mostram como diz.
Mas não tinham já uma inteligência qualquer com aquela análise de tendência?
Se lê, um gajo fez um modelo matemático que consegue já mostrar com uma grande probabilidade
I have to learn.
They have a math model that they can predict with good results which test will most likely fail.
Before executing.
Okay, can decide not to execute if tests are flawed or things like that.
Yeah, but even looking at test history, you can look at all your tests that have never ever failed. Maybe you should not be running some of those if they are not bringing value, because a test that brings value is a test that fails.
10 minutos e...
Okay.
We didn't talk about the integration.
That is on the beginning of the delivery.
Yeah.
Mas acho que a integração contínua
temos um problema, eu acho que estamos muito atrasados aqui, só os outros, mas está-se a fazer um problema, que é da integração contínua, acho que já é muito comum em todo lado. Nós lá ainda não temos testes na maior parte das coisas, e esse é o problema. Mas acho que é uma coisa que já está muito enraizada, digamos assim. Não haver assim muitos impedimentos. A nível de integração contínua, acho que já é muito comum, digo eu. Aqui o continuous delivery, visto como se fala hoje em dia, de todos os testes de segurança, e quality gates, e auditing, e não sei o quê, não sei o que mais, isso é que eu acho que ainda não há muita coisa. Agora, quais é que são os teus impedimentos? Qual que é que estão a debater-se neste momento? Não sabe
já não estou a gostar, estamos a acontecer, estou a falar, mas os nossos maiores impedimentos a nível de continuous delivery era o facto da nossa integração entre os nossos microserviços, que era tudo mesmo canal, tudo
é normal,
microserviços não ser propriamente estável. As pessoas ainda acreditavam muito em integração contínua do sistema inteiro, o que defeats the whole purpose. E nós estávamos a atacar mesmo em força de contract tests, mas ainda não cheguei a tal. Mas essa é definitivamente a way to go. Por isso, o que nós íamos fazer agora com o nosso grande impedimento que era ganhar a confiança que os sistemas estavam, os nossos bocadinhos do sistema estavam prontos para ser entregues, era separar as dependências de uns dos outros. Muitas pessoas ainda estavam a fazer.
Isso era uma arquitetura de supostamente. Muitas destas coisas começam por uma boa arquitetura. Tens uma boa arquitetura, meio caminho andado para conseguires fazer um continuous integration e um continuous delivery. Isso e coisas às vezes mais simples que nós não temos e ainda andamos a batalhar, que é a boa organização do código, builds parciais das peças, parcialmente podemos testar só a parte que alterou e não testar lá. Se tiveres uma boa organização do source dela, já é na caminho andado para conseguires fazer isso. Idealmente, então, uma boa arquitetura bem isolada, com contratos, melhor ainda.
Não é quando tens milhões de linhas de código, 10, 15, 20 anos. Nunca me esqueço de falar da nossa aplicação que é bastante crítica e está inclusão de nível de quadro e é meio frame, não é?
Essas são poucas.
Ainda tem uma equipa que trabalha dentro disso. Ainda mais.
As aplicações começaram a ADS das diretas, uma boa arquitetura é muito diferente, isso é uma boa arquitetura e transformar aquilo tem que ser aparece alguma coisa.
Suporte eles ficam lá na página de suporte só já devem ser solução de quase isso.
So now I'm going to ask all those nice guys who suggested these topics to basically do a wrap up of the topic. So let's start with container networking.
So the discussion was not just container networking, it was a lot of different things, from Blue Mix to container networking to what people are suffering today. Some people on the IT side trying to build the platforms for the developers. It's kind of right. In my case, I'm not a developer. I worked on IT for quite some time, but never as a developer. So for me, I'm learning all this stuff, all these new concepts of the developers, and try to match that to infrastructure solutions and how can we help them. Not a Bluemix, not an Azure, because they already know how to support their environments for their customers. But if you want to build it as a private cloud, how can we help them how can I make their life more simple, right? So this is the goal that I'm looking for, and that's why I was looking for some feedback. But overall, the discussion was around everything, Bluemix, how it works, and then talk about containers. Our colleague here was mentioning that it's having some challenges with the overlays and overlays. It's the server, it's the VM, then it's a container, then it's a VLAN, then it's a VXLAN, and with all these overlays on top of overlays, you lose performance, make it more difficult to manage, and so on and so on. From a networking perspective, what I was mentioning, I'm kind of trying to create awareness, is a new project called Condeep, which is fully open source. It's sponsored by Cisco, it's open source. So it's condeep.io, as everything else. One of the advantages of that networking platform is that allows or supports not only VXLAN but also VLAN as the transport for the networking or BGP. So that could be, as I was discussing with him, could be one option to at least get some performance back instead of using VXLAN. Go one level down, use VLAN instead of VXLAN, and see how it works for you.
Okay. So secrets management. No worries about it. It happens. No worries. Vendor lock-in data. No. Didn't anyone discuss?
Yes, we discussed. But by our point of view, we haven't reached any deep conclusion. Of course, that depends. We don't know what the future, and someone suggests that probably unlocking is not really important because the prices are going down more or less at the same rate in every vendor. So I'm not really sure about that, but that was at least 1/3 of the opinion.
Yeah, I guess that vendor lock-in exists as long as there are vendors. And
Yes.
It is. So impediments to continuous delivery.
Okay, so let me try to summarize here what we have been discussing. First of all, I started saying that we see in a lot of our customers, I work at OutSystems, so we see, because we have an incredible platform in terms of the ability to accelerate the development. So you really produce and develop code really fast. So we see that in our pipeline, in our delivery pipeline, a lot of times things get a bit stuck because business are testing our features. And so I was bringing a topic to the table, which was the ability to introduce feature toggling or feature throttling. And because this way it would be a way to reduce the work in progress, because you would maybe test a little bit less and features won't be stuck in your quality environment. But then some people were saying that probably this will increase some risk because sometimes when you add the feature toggling, it would work, then maybe it would cause some damage when you try to remove it or untoggle the feature. So that was one of the things that we were discussing. Then we talked a bit about testing, automated testing, and the importance of this. Because if you accelerate the testing, then you would try to push faster in your pipeline. We also discussed the importance, I think you did, the ability to selectively well, you know that which test you should run depending on the features that you are creating. So sometimes people think that they are continuously adding tests and they have to run all the tests every time. So one of the big things or good things to do is probably to have a way to remove some of these tests depending on the features that or the releases that you are putting in your pipeline in that specific time. And I think we end up with the importance of having good architectures, because if you have really loosely coupled components, then that will facilitate also your capacity to accelerate your delivery.
Okay. And so can you run Raspberry?
Okay. We have talked about possible uses of Raspberry with CloudFoundry. Well, there were two areas. I'm using Raspberry for low-cost development stations, like the type of frameworks that there are CloudFoundry to use on a Raspberry device. And the other area was a bit server-oriented, because there is a spec that there are some people which believe that there will be farms of ARM processors in replacing Intel on the long range because of the lower cost of energy and those kind of stuff. So that was that. About CloudFoundry, we also checked that there are many CloudFoundry vendors. Some are certified and they say, okay, we use CloudFoundry, like IBM and many other companies. And there are some other ones, for example, like Oracle, which uses CloudFoundry, but they don't want to assume. They don't want to assume, and it's real on that part. And that's all. We didn't touch much.
Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, and we'll have some beers and snacks. On the raffle.
This is
I always forget raffle.
Docker in the cloud. Not for you. It's one of these books from O'Reilly. You also can get it PDF online for free. This is the print version. I'll ask João to pick it up, but not to blame us. Nobody has one. Nobody wants to take a look.
Five? Number five? Is that an everything?
Primeiro é o número ganho.
40?
Quando está o bolso?
Aqui só os números que estamos.
2?
Esse eu acho que não foi.
One?
Mas os que foram distribuídos
Estão aí, só estão esses.
Queres tu?
Não, tem que estar aqui muito mais.
Estão 40.
Estão todos aqui. 40.
17?
Okay, sorry.
Oh.
Não vou fazer.